and never pull back. That was always the biggest thing. Never, if you're going, you're going. Never paddle and then not go. Never never pull back on it, because
That's the end of you.
you do that, you don't get many chances. And they all had good memories. So.
Andrew Lester, one of the goats of bodyboarding. Welcome to the Classic Podcast, mate.
Hey, Dan. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Look, mate, if I could go back to a younger version of myself and tell him that one day he'd be sitting down having a one-on-one chat with Andrew Lester, I know he'd tell me to go and get fucked. All my mates would do the same. Like, back then, in our eyes, you're a superstar. And I think that really speaks to the time that you're at the top. Like, it wasn't just any old time in bodyboarding. You were at the peak at what I know to be the pinnacle of bodyboarding to date. So before we get into it, was that time in the late 90s, sort of early 2000s, the actual pinnacle time for bodyboarding, or was I just seeing all this through young, starry eyes?
Well, firstly, thank you for that. You make me feel pretty old. But no, yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. Yeah, I think the late 90s, early 2000s was pretty much, as far as I can remember, it's being the best part. There was a little kind of rejuvenation period around that 2010 to kind of 2010, 11, 12, 13. Had a good crack as well. And then also a little bit before the kind of mid-90s as well is when it really kind of started to ramp up. But yeah, I think for the whole surf industry, really, not just bodyboarding, but the whole surf industry, the late 90s, early 2000s were really epic times.
Yeah, because I grew up in Cronulla as well, and we used to base everything around, if Emerald was doing something, we'd be there. Every single thing was based around bodyboarding. Was it the same everywhere you went, or was it mainly an Australian or Cronulla thing being such a hub?
Definitely Australia was, Australia and Hawaii were pretty progressive with it. Like every surf town in Australia had a really thriving bodyboarding club. We used to do the teams challenges up at Port Macquarie, and you get clubs from all over the country come to that. So yeah, it was really, really thriving there. Hawaii had a lot of clubs going on as well. The US earlier on in the early kind of mid 90s, I think was a bit stronger, and it started to kind of peter out a little bit towards the end of the late 90s, early 2000s. We had No Friends and those guys who were doing their thing, but it was seemed like at a club level wasn't as many. But and then Europe kind of seemed to kind of come on a bit later, and they're still thriving now. They're actually still going really well.
Okay.
They kind of came on a bit later on. And South America, we're always strong as well. Yeah. But bodyboarding, it was huge, like globally. That time, it was massive everywhere.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I remember one of the actual highlights of my childhood. I went down to a signing of you guys at out the front of Emerald when it was across from the train station there.
Oh, yeah.
And I was being a little smart ass, as you do. And Damien King called me Train Tracks. And I remember I ran on the froth of him calling me Train Tracks for years. Like, I was telling people that story for years. Even now, 2024, just told it again.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's how big it was for us back then. It was just, everything was bodyboarding. No care for surfing. It was just bodyboarding. Yeah,
exactly right. And that's like why it was so good, because it was really like in Cronulla, you'd almost say that bodyboarding was the dominant sport. Because we had waves like Shark Island and Suck Rock, and at that stage, I don't think Solander had been exposed yet. I think we were surfing it. We were definitely surfing it, but it hadn't really been exposed yet. So there was a lot of like heavy waves around there. So for Cronulla especially, it was really thriving, and Shark Island Challenge had a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm stoked to see it back, and we're going to get into that a little bit after.
Yeah.
Got any crazy fan stories from those glory days?
No, I wish I had a few groupie stories, but unfortunately I don't. Like just I guess attention had a lot to say about it. There's always guys drop rolling and causing ruckus. And like some of my friends and like the other bodyboarders, Alex Leon and those guys, Ben Williams, and they're all part of doing the stuff for tension, the early tension videos. But yeah, there's always guys like, knocking over things and being a bit of a ruckus, but there's nothing really that I can recall. I've got a terrible memory, to be honest, but nothing really that I can think of.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was good times.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, mate, look, take me back to where it all began for you. So early days, first time finding a bodyboard. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so I'm the youngest of 5 kids. So there's 2 boys, 2 girls than me, and there's an 8-year gap between the eldest and me. So my oldest brother Nick, he was a surfer. Well, he's a surfer. He still surfs now, but he got into surfing. So there's a memory that mum and dad sometimes talk about. I don't remember it, but there was a time we used to go school holidays. We'd go down to Kiama, this East Beach caravan park. I don't know if it's still there, but we used to go down there. And one time they couldn't find me. They were looking for me. I was about 5 or 6, and they were looking for me. They're starting to panic a little bit. And then out in the surf, it was only small surf, but I'd paddled out there was a boat moored off the beach about 200 meters out, and I was on my bodyboard paddling out to there. So I was about 5 or 6, and they were, I could probably barely swim. So they were obviously shitting themselves, but it was kind of from then on where I've just always been around the water. We're lucky enough to grow up in the Sutherland Shire here, so close to the beach. And yeah, my older brother surfed, so I just wanted to do what my older brothers and sisters were doing. So yeah, my earliest memory is probably 7 or 8, just going down to Cronulla, having a pink foamy, getting on the bodyboard, catching waves. I did surfboard a little bit as I got older, but getting hooked on the bodyboard was it kind of happened pretty quick.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I was going to ask that, because obviously back then, I think always surfing's had more of if you're talking a career prospect, surfing's probably got the better option.
Yeah.
But then bodyboarding, there was obviously a big divide between surfing and bodyboarding. It's lasted for a long time. I think it's hopefully breaking down a bit. But what made you stick with bodyboarding as opposed to taking up something like surfing?
Well, it came down to peers. So, high school, I was in high school, 92, 93. So we all just bodyboarded. There was a couple of guys that surfed, but generally most of us bodyboarded in my high school. So we would be part of the Emerald Bodyboard Club. And then I was surfing at North Cronulla one day at the alley, and I was waiting for my mum to pick me up, or my sister actually, and she was about an hour late. So I was just standing on the rock, just like, where is she? Anyway, Nathan Purcell came past and asked if I wanted to be sponsored off Moray.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so that was about 13 then.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, are you kidding me? Of course. And how do we do this? Like, what do we do now?
Where do I sign?
And anyway, I ended up getting a wholesale deal with Moray, and I was about 13. So from that point on, I was just like hooked on it. I mean, I was hooked already beforehand, but then being able to get cheaper boards, I was hooked on it. And then it just kind of progressed, started doing well in the local bodyboard club comps, and then just progressed in the national titles, won those, and then on the Australian tour, and just kind of progressed. And then, coming towards the end of school, like I was shit house at school. I was terrible. And it was kind of like I started to do well in the Australian tour in my HSC year, and end up winning the Aussie tour.
Yep.
Then after that, I just thought I'll give it a go. I was, trying to do. I'm still living at home, and then just kind of snowballed, and one thing led to another, and then I was just doing it. We weren't making a heap of money, but living at home, early 20s, you could kind of get by.
Apprentice wages,
yeah. Sponsorship of mum and dad.
Yeah. So Nathan Purcell, going back a little bit, he just saw you surfing, did he, or bodyboarding, and he just jumped on it?
Yeah, that's right. So you'd see each other in the surf a bit, and to be honest, I didn't even think he knew who I was. But yeah, he just said Moray looking. It was when the Max 740 was coming out. So they were looking to, because Wingnut had done really well with the Mana boards. So Moray were looking to try and get some of the younger market, or the starting to cater for younger people, shorter people, and so they were looking to put someone on, and someone close to Cronulla. And there's 2 other bodyboarders actually who were really good at the time, but they were already sponsored off Hydro and Manta, Joe Proudlock and Tony Hicks. So those guys were already sponsored. And I guess I was just kind of next in line, and Nugget saw me and recognised me, and then just said, "Do you want to sponsor it?" And just kind of went from there. It was a shop sponsor, local bodyboard shop sponsor, and Moray, and it was just wholesale deal to begin with. But yeah, that's kind of where it started. Ross Hawke was the team manager. Yeah, it was just epic. It was really cool.
Yeah. And so going back again, you started when you were young, obviously, and you went through with the high school group, just doing surfing with your mates. Was there a point where like, did you progress faster than others, or when did you realize? Because obviously you're at the pinnacle, you got to the pinnacle,
Yeah,
where so many people are bodyboarding and most don't. So
yeah.
did you have a natural talent, or was there a standout sort
Yeah,
of?
I think it must have been like, there was a natural talent there. I mean, I would do it religiously as well. Like I would surf no matter what the conditions. I would just like every day after school, just get dropped off for an hour or two, and surf. And I used to get paid out a lot about it. Like, you just groveler and all this kind of. But I just loved being in the surf. I just absolutely loved it. So yeah, I guess in the local clubs, I just kept winning the comps. Like I was in the A division, the entry, like the first division, and I won that. And then I went straight into the next year. We had like the grading comp, and I actually won the whole grading comp out of the comp, like out of the whole group. So yeah, so I went into AAA, and then ended up winning that, and then I won the cadets, the Australian titles in the under 16s. So kind of from like 3 or 4 years, I went from just kind of doing a little bit to getting a sponsor, and then within 3 years I was winning the Australian cadets. So yeah, it just kind of snowballed, and then it just kind of kept going, and then with those kind of winning those, you get more opportunities. You start to get bigger sponsors, got to start doing surf trips, and then you get to like be exposed to other guys like Ben Player and Kingy and those guys, and you start surfing with them, and then surfing with guys who are better than you. You just elevate your level as well. And then internationally, Andre Botha was huge. We were the same age, and he was winning world titles. So you just kind of, I guess you're always chasing the people in front of you, and it just happened.
Yeah, it's crazy, and even some of the names you're throwing around, like you forget how many big names there were back then.
Yeah, man, it was
just a wild time.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
the thing that Andre did, like he won 2 world titles at 18 and 19.
Yes, mental.
Yeah, incredible.
So I guess like you sort of touched on it a bit there, but at what point, not even at what point, but the bank of mum and dad is only going to last so long.
Yeah.
So was there ever a time where they give you the ultimatum of you got to make it, or it's time to get a real job, or did you just keep progressing and it just kept stepping up?
Progressing, but just the relying on them just kind of faded away as the sponsorships came. So I got sponsor. So I guess Manta was my biggest sponsor back then in terms of financially. They were really supportive. And then I guess when I came onto Billabong, that would have been 2000. Then that kind of stopped having. So that was kind of early 2000s. I stopped having to ask for mum and dad for money. I was still living there rent free, but
as you do.
But yeah, I was able to pay for my own travel and put a little bit aside, and so
even just Billabong.
But yeah, it was mainly when the bigger sponsorships started to come through.
Yeah. So having those bigger name sponsors like Billabong, did they step it up again, the whole sport? Because I imagine they can afford more than Mana can.
Yeah. I mean, they could. Personally, for me, Mana was still financially my biggest sponsor. I guess with Billabong, there was always, people would always say like, oh, they're not supporting bodyboarding, or the big companies, Quicksilver and Rip Curl, don't support the bodyboarders like as much as they do the surfers. And financially, no, they didn't. But I mean, like for instance, with Billabong, they still sponsored me, Kingy, Ryan Hardy, Mitch Rawlins, Bo Day, Blackie. Like without Billabong, like we wouldn't have been able to do what we did. So they still supported us. And Rip Curl, they used to sponsor like Tyson and Jason Hazel and Bullet forever. And then Quicksilver even were doing bodyboards for a while there, Q boards with Mez. So although those big companies weren't. Hey?
Q boards, yeah. No.
Yeah, that's right. So like even though they weren't sponsoring us as much as financially as much as what they were doing with the surfers, they're still sponsoring the top bodyboarders. They're still advertising in every Riptide and Australian bodyboarder. So they're still supporting the industry. So I don't know what the contracts were like with the other guys, but for me, Manta was always financially my biggest sponsor. It was awesome having them because they were like a local company too. So I was always able to pop in and get boards made and kind of have a bit of input on what they were doing with technologies and things. So yeah, that was really cool. That was actually epic having Manta up the road.
Yep,
it was sick.
Yeah, Manta Pro. That was my first board.
Yeah. Well, the Wing Nut was my first kind of slick board. And again, because it was a bit shorter too, it allowed you to be able to throw it around a bit more than the big 43-inch boards that we were all riding to begin with.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Tyson there, and I was pretty lucky when I was younger, just through family ties. I got to meet him a bunch of times, Tyson Williams.
Yeah.
And obviously, sad end for him.
Yeah.
How that all went, and it's horrible. But anyway, one encounter I'll never forget. I was would have been early 2000s, I think, and I was just a diehard Grom. I had a Unison Tyson board, everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I built up the courage to ask him. I said, "What's the secret?" I was almost hoping he'd give me some special drink or something that'd make me as good as him. But I said, "What made him so good?" And basically, how could I reach those sort of heights? And obviously, he was a special talent naturally in everything he touched.
Yeah.
And it kind of shocked me how simple it was. So he just said, the way to do it, you just got to go out and everything, big, small, shit, good.
Yeah.
Just got to go out every chance you get, and that's how you get good. So it's just basically about putting in the work, and that's always stuck with me. So I wanted to ask you that same question. So what was your secret sauce almost, or something for the young kids coming up now who are just trying to really progress and get good, and what is it they can do to really push that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. There's no secret, formula or drink or anything like that. I literally would surf in absolute shithouse surf, like no one on the beach. I'd go. I was really lucky. My dad would come down sometimes, and he had an old video camera, and he would video. That's being able to see yourself surf is a huge advantage. Being able to like critique what you want to do, see how you can change it, and I would write down things that I wanted to work on. So I'd say, looking at the surf, and if it's really fat, okay, I'm going to practice spins, forwards going left, forwards going right. Because that was one thing that I noticed, and especially with Tyson, actually, when I first surfed with Tyson, couldn't believe how good he was at doing spins both ways. And, you generally, you'd have a favorite kind of way of doing a spin or roll or whatever it was. Well, for me anyway, I did. I couldn't believe how good he could spin and roll going both left and right. So that was like, I met him when I was like 14 or something. So that was like a thing where, okay, I need to be at that level where I can do it the same, going both ways. So, I'd practice that. Then if there was, little lips, I'd practice about doing big rolls, and then doing a spin to a roll and trying to combine it so that, if you get the opportunity, you can do, the ARSs and all these little things, and just breaking everything right down so that when the surf's shit, you're working on it. When the waves are good, you're not working on it. You're executing it and you're doing it.
Yeah.
And also, Cronulla Beach is a real shit house too. So I was really lucky in that I could like surf that all the time. So I'd go to comps in Foster or Port Macquarie where the waves are actually pretty good, and I'd be like pumped to get out from my heat. The waves are like, these are the funnest waves I've seen in months, So yeah, I was just constantly in the water, in the water. And you'd find that like with everyone, like with a lot of the top guys, we would all just surf in whatever there was. I remember Joel Taylor had a stat back before his injury, and he had surfed every day for like 2.5 years or something.
Whoa.
Literally every day.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that, like, again, there isn't any secret formula.
Just the love of it.
Yeah, just the love of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people might have used it for an escape. Whatever it might have been, but the ocean's always there, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. Well, outside of the ocean, so we used to get out the backyard on the trampoline with the bodyboard and bounce up and down doing inverts or whatever we could, just stupid shit. and do you have any tricks or any sort of training you do or did outside of the ocean when you couldn't get to the ocean?
Yeah, we were lucky enough to have a pool. So I would, run along the edge and jump and do the inverts and, and do the rolls or the flips or whatever it was. I used to practice duck diving in there. So I'd try and duck dive like the length of the pool.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I used to do that, which was good. What else? No, it was mainly around the pool. Yeah. Spent a lot of time in the pool. Not so much just swimming and doing laps or anything, but with the bodyboard. I remember doing a lot of duck diving practice then. Yeah. Yeah, it really came in handy. Like there's heaps of times in Hawaii where, be out pipe and the second reef set would roll through and, you'd try and escape it either way. But if you couldn't, you'd have to duck dive. And, I found it very beneficial.
I bet. Yeah. I wouldn't even think to duck dive. I'd just be bailing on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess having such a full career at such an epic time, are there a few highlights or anything that really stand out for you, like getting that Billabong sponsor or winning pipe, or do you have a couple of highlights that just make it for you?
Yeah, there have been a couple of highlights. Getting that phone call from Eppo for the Billabong sponsorship was pretty special. That was really cool. With Manta getting my first pro model, working on that was pretty sick. Actually, and just working on the logo, things like that was pretty cool because back then it was really difficult to get a pro model. Like it was really they weren't just giving them out, so that was really massive for me. What else was there? The Tahiti Skins comp.
Oh yeah,
that was a massive one. Yeah, going to Chopes. It'd been really big, and just being able to. I kind of had a bit of a small wave tag, I think, attached to me before then,
right.
And being able to get that. I've got one big wave that kind of helped, kind of get rid of that small wave tag. As too did Tyson as well. He got a bomb. Tahiti winning, winning pipeline. That was huge. Coming within, a bee's dick of winning the world title then too. Yeah. That was both heartbreaking, but also just the best thing ever. When I won the pipe comp, they had to move it because of the swell got too big for the pipe, and it was outside the window, so we had to move it to the west side. So, I didn't win pipe. I won the pipe event, which is which is still cool. But I beat Tamiga in the final there, and I used to always going to the what I did to train or going to the surf and all that. I always have fake heats with Tamiga.
Oh right,
at the surf. Yeah. So I'd always have I'd catch a wave and go, okay, Tamiga's done two more rolls, or he's done a flip and something else. So I'd always be competing in my mind with him.
Oh, so he didn't know.
Pardon?
So he didn't know.
No, so he didn't know. So he was always like my sparring partner without really ever meeting him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to have be in the final and to beat him. And then 2001. All the main things. 2001 Shark Island comp, that always stood out for me.
Got a bunch of questions on that.
Pardon?
Got a bunch of questions on that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that. I won the ISA Games in Ecuador. I think it was 2004. That was one of the biggest highlights of my career. Being a part of being a part of the Australian team.
That's right. Could you give me a quick rundown on that?
Yeah. So they still do the ISA Games, but they don't do the bodyboarding part of it. Now it's actually qualified for the Olympics, which is pretty cool for the surfers. But they used to do all different surfing genres. So there'd be bodyboarding, men's and women's bodyboarding, the shortboarding, longboarding, I think. And there'd be like a women's bodyboarder, 2 men bodyboarding, 4 shortboarders, 2 women shortboarders, and a longboarder. And so you used to literally be part of the Australian team, and you'd go and compete. And it was kind of cool. Like if you lost, it's 4-man heats. If you got first and second, you go through. If you got third or fourth, you go into a repechage comp.
Right.
You could still end up being in the final of the main event, even if you'd lost in your first heat through this repechage, but you just had to surf twice as many heats. Anyway, so got to be in the world, the ISA World Games, which was epic. That was in Ecuador. Bo Day was the men's bodyboarder with me.
Right.
Kira Llewellyn was the women's. She won the gold, and I won the gold. And it was like coming down to the last minute. I needed like a high 7 or something, and just got this. It was on this long left point break, and it was just this like ripper of a left, and it was really good. Like come down, found out that I won after the hooter on the beach. Team around me, it was amazing.
Yep, that's right. Because you got that wave on the buzzer, was it? Or the buzzer
just
went
before, like they were doing that kind of the countdown.
Yeah,
like, the wave was coming, and the set came, and I had to fake the first one to like get in a priority to get the guy to catch it, and then the one behind it, and I caught it, and I 5, 4, and took off, and it was epic. It was amazing.
Yeah,
so that was probably competitively, that's probably one of the best feelings I've ever had, because like when you're in it, you've got all the nations there, everyone's going on like it's finals day. People are winning gold medals, and it's just crazy. You got your team, like everyone's supporting you. Because not just the riders, but you got like you got your managers and the coaches, and it's a big team. There's probably about 20 of us there. It's been after a long week. You're down supporting everyone, so that was really cool.
Yeah, it's not something that often happens in surfing or bodyboarding, is it?
No, that's right. That's right. Exactly. It's kind of like everyone puts down their swords and you come together, and yeah, it was epic. It was really, really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Personally, that was one of the biggest moments for me. What else? Winning the Shark Island comp, I think 2014.
Yep.
Took me a while to get there, but winning that was really special too.
Yeah.
After trying it for so long to finally get it was good.
And this close again.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that was a bit heartbreaking as well.
Yeah, I bet. It was good to see Benny Sawyer win though. Like he's
it was. Yeah,
well-deserving fella.
Well, yeah, definitely.
There's worse people to lose to, that's for sure.
Pardon?
Yeah,
that's
worse
right.
people.
Yeah, good person to lose to. Like I was stoked for him, and even in the final, like I was busted, and those waves coming. I'm like, stay there, Benny. Like this one coming, and yeah, I was stoked for him. It was really good.
Yeah, no, it was good. I got so many questions about all that, but unfortunately, due to time constraints and children, I've had to stick to sort of one thing, and Shark Island was the choice for today. So obviously, we're pretty lucky growing up in Cronulla. It's just surrounded by all these sick waves for bodyboarding. Yeah, and the highlight one is obviously Shark Island. So to start off, are you able to give me a bit of a rundown through your eyes about that wave itself, maybe the sections, how it breaks, the dangers and that sort of thing, and what makes it so special?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think pretty much the most special thing about it is that how rare it does break. To get all the elements together for it to break is a crazy and special thing in itself. I first paddled out there when I was about 12 or 13, maybe a bit younger. Cut my hand early on. Didn't go back out for a little while. But then with the underground taped videos and watching it all, and going, I've got to get back on the horse.
Yep.
And I'd obviously improved a lot over those couple of years, so I went back out. But the wave itself, it's both beautiful and ugly and hectic at the same time. You want like a southeast swell, high tide, southwest winds, and I guess the beauty of it is it kind of starts off small and then it grows and grows and grows, and that's the pretty how would you say it? Kind of scary, because you can see the lump of water coming, and you've got to commit to it, but you know what it's going to do pretty much.
Yeah.
And you can see it coming, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing wave. It's really intimidating. The crowd used to be a lot more intimidating. There was a lot more hierarchy, I guess, in the lineup, and it wasn't just anyone could come out and get waves. Like you really had to put your time in, and if there was a new face in the lineup, they weren't going to get waves. But that's just kind of that time of the that era of surfing. But yeah, it's such a special wave. Like even just thinking about now, I'm starting to get a bit pumped. Like I haven't surfed for 8 weeks, and I'm also like, oh man, I'd love to get back out there and get one. Like it's it's an incredible wave. When you're coming into it and you see it all throw over you, and and you can see like a little hole and it starts spitting, and you come out before it pinches. Yeah, it's incredible. It's an amazing feeling. Yeah, it's really good. But obviously the dangers is the reef.
Yeah,
you can really.
Well, the videos don't do it justice either. It's a whole different beast when you're out there.
Yeah, it is.
And I've sat out there on some big days, and shit, what people are throwing themselves into is just, you can't even explain it.
No, that's right.
Just seeing that reef from when you take a one over surge and you're watching someone down in there, it's just, there's nothing like it.
It's a long way down, and you can see all the reef, like in the waves rippling off it. And sometimes you see like an empty video, and it'll be like this perfect one, and you're like, why isn't anyone on that? Then when you're out there, they're right in on the reef. They're hard to get into. Like catching them because it's so steep, and then it breaks, and then it just like takes off. A lot of people have tried, but there's not. You got to be selective out there if you want to get the right ones.
Definitely.
But when you do, man, there's no better wave. I reckon it's epic.
Yeah. It's I spent a lot of time there in my younger days.
Yeah.
I snuck down for a session actually only a couple of months ago. It was only tiny, but I had it, me and myself, myself and my brother out there for maybe 2 hours solo.
Oh, epic.
Yeah, which never happens, as you
Yeah, that's
probably
right.
know. So yeah, it was good to get back there. But you mentioned the crowd, a heavy crowd back then. How
Yeah.
did you, being a young bloke, getting out there? The wave's scary enough. The
Yeah.
blokes are scary enough, and it's the kind of wave where sometimes it's dangerous to pull back. So
Yeah.
if you're lining up and someone else is paddling inside you and you drop in, you either get slammed or the bloke slams you, I guess. So
Yeah, that's right.
how did you slot in there in the earlier days, and how did you make a name for yourself to basically, be one of Shark Island's best surfers ever?
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty difficult to begin with. You'd cop a lot of abuse, verbal abuse. Never got physical or anything.
Yep.
But you'd always get, go in, go back to the alley.
Oh, really?
Just like I said, it was just like, and they're calling you a sheep, because everyone go out there, so you just follow like you're just a flock of sheep out there. So you just kind of had to just keep your head down, don't paddle for the good ones, and just kind of pay your dues and just continually be out there. Be out there on the big days, on the perfect days, on the east days when it's real hectic, and you just had to be out there. It was all about just putting your time in, and knowing that you weren't going to get the best waves, but it was just part of the deal. And then there'll be days when the top guys weren't out, and you might be able to get one or two good ones, and never pull back. That was always the biggest thing. Never, if you're going, you're going. Never paddle and then not go. Never never pull back on it, because
that's the end of you.
If you do that, you don't get many chances, and they all had good memories. So,
do they?
So that's just how it was. It's just about time, and that's why I was so stoked for Benny Sawyer. Like, he's put his time in.
Yeah,
he's been out there, on all the different swells, and that's just him being rewarded for that dedication to it. So yeah, that's how it was for me when we were young, like for my generation, not just me, but for Alex Mills, Alex Leon, Ringer, Ben Williams, Ben Hall. We all had to just go out there and put our time in. And that's just how it was. And if there were days when they weren't out and you were out and you got a good one, it was good to rub it in.
Yeah, definitely. I bet. I never got to that point where I could sit way out the back with those guys. I was sort of picking off the ones that people had come off or anything. I was always sitting on the inside there.
Yeah.
But it's a scary lineup.
Yeah.
But obviously that's a spectacle, that wave. And one of the biggest things that sticks in my mind is the 2001 Shark Island Challenge. It was mental. I still watch it on YouTube in the grainy old footage. I don't have the VHS anymore. Yeah. But the combo of the best bodyboarders in the world competing in those conditions. Like, when you saw all this lining up, actually saw the waves and the comp was called on, what was the atmosphere like? What were you thinking, and how was it going around the crowd?
Well, I guess the general consensus was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to send us out in that? And seriously, like, most people were thinking, you can't surf that. Like, the waves are unrideable.
Yeah.
Which, went to show that most people didn't make a lot of the waves and they weren't that rideable. But that was the general consensus, was like, okay, we're really doing this. And then once it got called on and everyone was like, okay, well, this is happening, then it was like, all right, it's on. Like, we're going out, we're doing it. And it was 2001, it was right in the guts of the prime time. Like you said, it was like all the top guys were here. And then it was just like, once you hit the water, it was just like the bull seeing red. You just wanted the biggest, heaviest wave you could find, you could get into. And I mean, everyone was so competitive. Everyone was pushing it as hard as you could possibly go. And that was such a special event. We are 23 years later and still talking about it. Like, it was incredible. And it put bodyboarding, going off the back of the Tahiti Skins in 2000, and then 2001 the Island Comp. Bodyboarding was really, on its way up. It's just that September 11th happened and put a hold on pretty much everything. And really,
is that what it was?
Yeah.
I was too young to pick up on any of this.
Yeah, so like
12 or 13.
Really starting to get moving with it, and Human had come on board. We were about to come on board and sponsor it, and we had like a lot of events, and then September 11th just put a hold on everything around the world. So that was a bit sucked. But in terms of just the Shark Island comp itself, it was, oh man, it was incredible.
Wow.
So scary, but so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember sitting there watching it, even being 12 or 13 years old at that time. My parents would even know, like, if that's on, I'm there, school day or not, I'm there, just to watch. But you actually quoted on that video, I think it was the heaviest island you ever surfed.
Oh, yeah.
Was your quote in there? What made it so dangerous? What made it so crazy? Was it the direction of the swell?
Well,
what was
the direction that it held? Like, generally when it gets that big, it breaks out past the reef.
Yeah.
Like, you even saw it in this most recent event. Like there's deep, like it's deep water, but there's still, it gradually moves up. So like, if it gets big enough, it's going to break. But for this comp, I can't remember like the tides and all that kind of stuff, but for whatever it was holding. So like you had like these huge waves breaking on the inside shelf. And I've never seen it. I don't remember I've ever seen it. Maybe the 2016 year.
Yep.
Where it was like where the water was really murky. It was kind of similar. But 01 was still by far the heaviest. I've seen it because, like I said, it was just that big, holding on the first reef, like riding on the reef. So you're getting all these steps in like 8-foot waves.
It's mental.
Which, you'd never really seen before and seen since.
Yeah,
it's just a crazy, whatever it happened, how all the things aligned. But yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah,
absolutely nuts.
Mental. It's absolutely mental. Yeah, it's just a wild wave. Like when you were heading out there, what were you thinking? Even though you'd surfed it all the time, maybe your first wave or something. Like I can't even fathom someone getting caught inside on one of those things. Like right on the reef.
All local knowledge and all that kind of went out the window.
Right.
Because I'd never really done that before, or to my knowledge, it never really broken like that. So it was just kind of like, you knew that you needed to get from kind of point A of the takeoff to point B of the, past surge, but how you did that, and what the wave was going to dish up, you didn't really know. So, you might be waves that I remember thinking on waves, because my first round, I didn't really make a wave. Because every wave I thought would be good, if I thought it would be south enough, would still wrap in and gurgle and, so, there was no real local rider advantage or anything like that. It was just, luck of the draw, I guess, in terms of the tide. So I think Kingy was in one of the middle tides. Back then, it wasn't two go through, like, 4-man heat, two go through. It was like you surf twice. It was like a leaderboard, like a golf leaderboard. So you'd surf twice and they'd accumulate your best rides of each heat. Like I think it was your 2 or 3 best rides of each heat. And then top 6 waves, your 6 rides would all get scored together and added up, and that was how they found the winner. So you had to have 2 good rounds. And Kingy obviously did. He charged it, and he had a couple of good heats. But there was no real local knowledge or anything like that. I was just shitting myself. I was just shitting myself, but also wanted to do well as well.
Yeah, had to.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you mentioned point A to point B there. So there's almost a little point in between there. I don't know about this particular day, but where you take off way out the back almost, and then you're heading straight in and it just walls straight up on you, and you're either committing to it, or you've maybe got a split second to pull out before that part. How confident are you locally? Maybe not on this day, because it sounds like not very confident at all, but on a standard day when it gets a bit of size, how confident are you now when you do commit to that? How confident are you going to make it through surge all the way down the line?
I'd be, as I'm getting older, I'm taking less risks. So so these days, well, I mean, saying taking less risks, I just fracture my scapula, but I'd probably say I'd give myself an 80% chance, 90% chance these days.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a fair few injuries actually over the last few years out there, so I haven't been surfing it as much as I used to. But in saying that, like when you used to, it just had to be, you just have to go like 50-50 on some of them.
Yeah.
And that was always the best thing, because you'd make barrels that you never thought you would go to.
Yeah.
Which was epic.
Yeah.
Sure, you got some beatings, but for every 4 beatings, if you got one that you made, well, you'd be stoked on that for for months.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but yeah, these days I'm taking a lot less risks. So, you know, I'll try and tip it to like an 80 or 90% chance I'm going to make it through.
Right. And back
Yeah.
on that 2001 day, what sort of chance were you looking?
Oh, there's probably about a 3 or 4% chance. No, there was a bit more, but it was just you just didn't know what was going to happen, like coming into surge.
Yeah.
You know, like saw Alistair Taylor, he broke his back in
Oh,
that
no,
comp.
that's mental.
Yeah, like that was crazy. I remember seeing Andre Botha get absolutely whipped. I was in the heat after him, and so we were like kind of overlapping a little bit. And on one of his last waves, I saw him take off, and we were watching from behind. And he kind of came up, like he must have tried to bail out the back. And it's like he came up and scratching, you know, like in horror movies where you see people like scratching it like out of a door well, and it's just all black behind them, and they're like that, and then they just go woof and get sucked in by the monster, and you don't see it. It was like that, like he was kind of scratching, and then he just went woof down and like behind the wave.
Before your
oh
heat
my
too.
God, he's dead, like
Yeah.
shit. So everyone's just getting belted. So yeah,
It's a wild
there wasn't
day.
a whole lot of chance because you just didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, the best riders in the world, you know, most of us weren't making waves.
Yeah. Which is a mental stat.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Is there any particular crazy memory or something that you think about every now and again, or that gives you nightmares of that day?
No, there's one particular wave in my second heat, the second day, that I made, and it was a wave. I remember taking off, and there's photos of it too, which is good. I've still got photos of it, and there's video footage of it. But I'm in the yellow rash, and I take off, and I've learned a lot about the wave on this wave. I took off, and surge and all that was boiling up, and I actually kind of went over a step and kind of went trying to do it like I went in front of it. Like kind of went in front of the gurgles and around it, and then kind of got sucked up and then came out through the wave. And I always remember thinking of that, the way I had to angle my board, because Shark Island, it wraps around, like from where you take off to where you finish, you're almost doing like not a 180 degree, but
like a horseshoe sort of
turning
thing.
like a 45 degree, 90 degree angle.
Yep.
So so as I was coming down this wave, I remember almost going straight as I hit the bump, like I hit the water, but kind of bounced and kind of went straight. And as I did it, I kind of slid kind of sideways, and it just changed my angle of how I was going on the wave. And as it kind of came over me, I just had a good angle to instead of getting sucked over like a lot of people had done. I managed to be able to kind of go through it and hold my line, and kind of got sucked up a bit, but enough to not go over. And it really changed my thought pattern on how you approach surge coming in. And you see Dave Ballard would do it a lot too, where he would come in from White Rock and he's almost going straight, but he's kind of gliding sideways. And a lot of people, that's what catches a lot of people. Like they come into it and they just think it like a normal wave, but because it's moving and changing direction, everyone gets sucked over.
Yep.
So you really got to like face your board straight and kind of almost like hover across. And that wave really changed my my perspective of how to come into surge, and which I took on with me after that. So yeah, that was a really turning point. That was a really turning point wave for me that I still remember clear as day now. I mean, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but that wave I still remember.
Yeah, you're a real standout. I guess moving forward to this year, Shark Island Challenge was back after a long break, and you were in the lineup. So how stoked were you that it was coming back, and how stoked were you to be in it?
Yeah, it was epic. Started towards the end of last year, they started just seeing these little posts come out, like SIC 24.
I jumped straight on it.
Yeah, and I was like, and I saw a couple, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they just kept coming. I was like, yeah, I'll click on it, and then it was just kind of started to get a bit of momentum. And then heard about what the guys were wanting to do, and I was like, yeah, like I'm happy to help in whatever you want me to do. Not really expecting to compete in it, but always, I would always, if I ever got asked, would never really say no to it. But yeah, I was always happy to try and help and do whatever I could. But yeah, the boys did such a good job doing it. Like Mark, Luke, and Sam, they did such an amazing job to get it back up to where it was. And it really felt, I don't know if you were down there for that day, but it really felt like the early 2000 days. Like it was good because it was a Sunday. It was a beautiful day. Like we'd had a week or two of shit weather. So it was like a beautiful winter day. The headlands was absolutely packed, like early 2000s type vibe of Shark Island comp.
Yep.
Being able to call it as early as they did, although I thought it was a risk, They called it, I think, on a Wednesday for a Sunday. That's like, there's so many things could change. But being able to do that, they were able to promote it really heavily. We all got to promote it, put it on the socials. So there's a lot of people down there. And then the day before was kind of like, oh man, is this all going to happen? Like,
Yeah, really.
The island was onshore, it was maybe 2 foot.
Yep.
Pretty shit. And then we're like, oh. So yeah, to wake up to what we woke up to on that Sunday, yeah, it was incredible. It was really good. And it was epic. It was so good.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched it live and I thought that was sick too, that it was all live on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah.
And I sat there the whole day. That's the first comp I've had for a long time where I've been anxiously waiting. I can't even tell you the last bodyboarding comp I watched. It was probably the Shark Island Challenge before this. So yeah, I'm stoked they bring it back. And especially even Mike Stewart came out for it, which is just wild. Especially on a wrist. But yeah, those boys put it together well. Even the commentary, everything. There was the odd hiccup, but that's sort of expected.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it had been 7 years since they'd ran it.
Yep.
Like these guys, it was their first time doing it. I hadn't competed since 2014, like it's been 10 years for me personally. But yeah, to have Mike, Jerry, over from, where did he come from? Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Like Jacob Romero. Tanner was here, but he had to leave because he had other commitments, but he came out.
Yeah.
But like Winnie came down, like all the guys, Jace Finlay, he came up a few times to do like promotional stuff for the event, which was awesome. So yeah, like everyone, when it's the Shark Island comp, it's so prestigious. Everyone wants to see it here. And if it's going to be on them, they're all going to support it. And yeah, it was epic. And for me personally too, I mean, I got to see a lot of guys I hadn't seen for a long time, now with kids and stuff and regular jobs, we don't even get to hang out and see much of each other. So, personally, it's great to see guys I hadn't seen for a long time, and wasn't sure I would ever get to see again. I haven't seen Mike in a long, long time. So to see him and Winnie and Jerry, like we've all had kids since last time we saw each other, and yeah, it was really cool. From a personal level, it was great just to see some of my old mates who I hadn't seen for so long.
Yeah,
it's epic.
And what was it like pulling that jersey back on?
It was it was epic. It was actually quite emotional, to be honest.
I bet.
It's been a while since, like, the last time I put the Shark Island comp on, I'd won. So it was kind of like, well, do I really want to do this? I've just won it. Do I really want to risk what's happened? And then, but no, I mean, to have my sons there, my boys, my youngest one, he's 2.5. He won't really remember it, but having like my 8-year-old, he was there. My fiance, we'd only just started dating when I'd won the last one.
Right.
Having my sisters and my dad there was really good. Like, Dad used to come to all the events, and and a lot of the other riders were stoked to see him. Like, they haven't seen him for so long. He was such a staple at a lot of the comps growing up.
Oh, really?
A lot of them. Yeah. He used to like come up to Port Macquarie and come to a lot of the events. So a lot of the guys would know him. So he was like, oh, I've seen Sean Cooper or Winnie and all these guys for so many years. So yeah, it was really cool. It was an incredible day. It was sick. Like, personally for me, I was stoked to have my family there as part of it too.
Yeah. I hope they do it again. I'll be down there for sure at the next one.
Yeah.
But like you said, you mentioned earlier, was it your clavicle you broke? What did you break?
Scapula. Yeah.
So and that was in the last heat, the final, was it?
It was in the semi-final, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So
walk me through that.
So I pulled into, I mean, with the conditions the way they were, so it was obviously really big. It was really big, and it was actually pretty south for Shark Island, more south than what you'd really want it to be.
Yep.
So I took off on this wave. It was an insider one. And with it being so south, I kind of took off and instead of going across, if it was like, a bit more east, trying to get, to the shoulder kind of more quickly, I went straight down and then bottom turned. And this wave, it was like probably one of the most east ones that actually had come through, and it had gurgles and all that. And by the time I'd realized, it was too late. But like I said earlier, like, you're not going to bail out or anything. Like, you got to commit.
Yeah.
And I committed, and it was an ugly one. And as soon as it like went over me and went all black, it threw me up into the roof, as it usually does. And then I came down, and usually when you get thrown up, you come down, you go whack and hit straight away, and then you're like, oh, well, that didn't happen. I kind of went down. I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty good here. and then I just felt like a whack on my back and on my side, and then like along underwater. And then I was like, oh, that's all right. I'm like, oh, hang on, no, my shoulder. And I did my AC joint out there years ago where I landed on my side. So like there's a little bone here that sticks up. And I was like, okay, no, I can move my shoulder. Because last time I did that, I couldn't really move my shoulder. I was all like grindy in that. I thought, and underwater, I thought, okay, I'm all right. I'm like, oh, no, something's wrong. And I'd lost my board. My leash had come off. So I swam up and I was like, oh, and I got to my board and the lifeguards could see I was in a bit of pain. Like, you're all right? And they go, is it dislocated? And I was like, nah. And I was like, oh, but there's something wrong. But anyway, I was like, I can move it. Well, I could move it then. And then I got back on the ski and I was like, got back out to the lineup and I was like, I can't move it. I couldn't move it forward. Like I had to kind of like walk my fingers up to the front of my nose of the board.
Wow.
And I couldn't, like, duck diving was the issue. I couldn't get any power out of my shoulder to push down. So I was so that was in the semi-final. I was thinking, no, I got one barrel, which was all right, but I thought, oh, I'm not going to make it. And then, the hooter went and I had made it through. And I was like, fuck, okay, like sick, but also like can't really move my arm. And it was funny, Brad Whitaker, who was doing the surf safety.
Right.
He's like, quick, we're running out of time. I need to get that rashy off. You need to put this new one on. I can't really move my arm. He's like, come on, I need to get that rashy off. They're going to start the comp, they start the heat. I'm like, can't move my arm. And he's like, oh, shit. Are you all right? I was like, not really. And he helped me get my rashy off. He goes, are you going to be able to surf? And I was like, I'll try. And I like slowly got the rashy on.
So you went straight into the final?
Yeah, so there was no turnaround.
Yeah, okay.
It was actually in the semi-final, actually, because I got back out to the lineup after I'd hit my shoulder. And I remember asking Louis Finnegan, because he's like, he's yoga teacher and he's, really into like the human body and all that kind of thing. And I was like, do you reckon you could tell me if there's anything sticking out? Like, because I had the wetty and the rashy on. He's like, oh, mate, like, I can't do anything. Like, and there wasn't anything sticking out or anything like that. It was just, it was all internally. But so I knew I felt like there was something wrong. But yeah, so I found out that I was in the final, and then I was like, and I was more worried about the duck diving, because I thought if I get cleaned up and I lose my board and I've only got the one arm, like if I'm on the peak, all the jet skis and all those guys are over in the shoulder, it might take a while. Like I could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of cat and maths about not being too far in.
There was a few cleanups coming through that day too.
Cleanups, but then also being far enough in to catch waves. But even to begin with, in the first 10 minutes, I was like, I'm not really here to catch a wave now. I'm just like, I can't move it. So I'd crawl my hand up and I was like, okay, well, let's just see if I can hold on. So I moved my arm down. I was like, okay, in that position, my arm back at the back of the board, it's not too bad. It's not putting stress on the injury where it is. So, okay, so I can hold on to my rail. I won't be able to do rolls or anything, but I can hold on.
Yep. So
once I knew that, I was like, okay, I can catch a wave. And then I was like, I've got my kids on the beach. I'm not going to not catch a wave just because I said I'm hurt. Like, and I didn't know, obviously, the extent of the injury.
Yeah.
So then it took me a while, and then this wave came. I was like, and I had a priority. So fuck, okay, I'm going. Can you give it a go? And that's when I caught that wave.
Yeah.
And then
you got some heaters.
Like, and then the guys on the skis are like, yeah, come on, let's get another one. I'm like, oh, and they're like, come on, man, like it's the Shark Island comp, like it's the final. You got 20 minutes or however long it was. I was like, all right, yeah, whip me around. They're like, come on, you'll be right. Like the lifeguards, they were so good, like the water safety. Like, you'll be right. So then they, put me out, and then again, still doing that cat and mouse, and then got my arm in the spot again, and then got the second wave. And then after that, I was like, there's only a few minutes to go, 5 minutes or something, I'm done. They're like, come on, man, you get one more. Come on, like it's really close. Ben's got a couple.
Yep.
Like, fuck, okay. And as we started going out, this massive set came, and the photographers and that, they were getting cleaned up, and they're like, oh, the water guys. So I was like, just leave me out here. Go get them. Just leave me to the side. Like, I'm fine. It's all good. And I'm so stoked that I actually caught the wave, because I was thinking if that set had come when I was out in the lineup, like I would have been fucked.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that happened, and then they still got me over to the lineup. And then what happened? Then Osler went left. Michael Osler went left and did a roll.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
He did a roll going left and he went in a fair bit. So the water patrol came out and picked him up. And then as they were coming back, a big set came and I actually bailed. I had to bail because I couldn't duck dive.
Yep.
And my leash got ripped off and I lost my board. And I'm so lucky that lifeguards were there because I bailed and I called out to them. It was only like a minute or so to go. And then I jumped on the back of the ski and then we went over to the boat because the comp had finished. But I was so lucky because it was like almost dark by that stage.
Yeah.
And I'd lost my board. I thought my board was gone. I was just lucky that an old local island guide picked it up off the rocks and gave it to Des from Emerald. But yeah, so that happened. And then again, didn't know what had happened to my shoulder. I was just in so much agony. And then went to the Prezzo. That all happened. Like Ben won, and which was sick. Actually, it was really cool. We were out on the boat directly after the conference, just Ben and I and the media guys. But it was really cool. It was just me and him, and I was like really stoked for him. I didn't see his waves, but I knew from the crowd's reaction that he had done really well.
Yep.
And I knew it was close because I knew what my waves were like. So I was just stoked for him, and he seemed pretty confident. He didn't know I'd caught some waves.
Yep.
So it was really good. And then went to the Prezzo and that all happened. And then I went to the emergency that night, but it was probably about 20 people there. And I was just thinking, I'm not going to get into lunchtime tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I went home, just got on the painkillers, and then when he got X-rays, and I was going to I got an X-ray, and then I was also got a referral for an ultrasound I got the X-ray first, and then the lady's like, "Oh no, we've cancelled your ultrasound." I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "Oh, we found the problem. You fractured your scapula." I was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, that makes sense then. So yeah, and then I had to get a CT scan and MRI and all that kind of stuff, and it's been almost 8 weeks, and I've had one surf, and it was a bit sore, but just starting to rehab it now. So
mental. Yeah. Well, it definitely adds to the story, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The Island Challenge.
Yeah, that's right. It was pretty I would have obviously loved to have won, the competitor inside me. It's like, fuck, you should have done something more. But but in the grand scheme of things, Ben was the deserved winner. I'm so stoked that he won, and it's an awesome. It's kind of like what Shark Island Challenge was all about. It's about the local guys surfing against the best guys. That's where it began.
Yeah,
the locals versus everyone else. So it was so fitting that Ben, being the local charger, winning the first year back. The guys, although there weren't a lot of epic waves, the guys got the highlight package. With the crowds and everything that they needed to pump up for next year.
Yeah, for
sure.
That
was the whole point of this year was to, build a package that they can really go and promote and sell.
Yeah.
For next year, so they've been able to do that. So it's kind of like a win-win for everything.
Yeah, they did that for sure.
We would like to have better waves, but really,
it wasn't disappointing though.
Pardon?
Yeah, it wasn't disappointing. The waves, maybe 1 in 3 was a ripper or something. I don't know the stats, but there was plenty of good waves that.
Yeah, man.
I was fucking yelling at the TV.
There was massive cleanup sets. It was huge. The biggest swell I've been out in ages. It was a real challenge. So it was just kind of it was epic. It was so good to be a part of. The guys did an absolutely incredible job, and it was an incredible day. It was epic. Still now 8 weeks later, still buzzed. Thinking about it, and it will continue until next year's one.
Yeah, 10 months to go. Putting the rashing back on, hopefully.
We'll see.
Well, look, I know we're going to run out of time shortly, but I just want to recap before we do wrap up. So in the 2001 comp we just spoke about before, which wasn't your first time in the challenge. What was your first challenge? Do you remember?
I was actually there from day one. So the first one was, I think, 97.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think 96 or
maybe 96. 97?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So first comp was 97. Then in 2001, you came 5th, the big one we spoke about, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
13 years later, you won it in 2014. A decade later, in 2024 this year, you narrowly missed the win. It was touch and go who would have got it. Got some of the best waves of the day, managed to surf it with the broken scapula, everything. Do you know how insane a timeline that is for you to be surfing these kind of comps?
Yeah, no, it's pretty
and
crazy.
be at the top of them. You're not coming last. You're at the tip of it still.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's mental.
Yeah, it's in my mind, I still feel like I'm a 20-year-old, 25-year-old. It's the body that's, that's slowly starting to give up. Well, not give up, but, like it's not handling it. But I think that's with most people. Like we all think we're younger than we are. But yeah, I know. Like when you put it like that, it's pretty crazy.
It's insane. It's mental. It's like, that's a long time.
Yeah. No, like it is. It's crazy. Like to think, it'll be
You got to go to
2027. Like, that's more than half my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. Well, if you're going to retire, you got to do it in 2027.
Why is that?
You started in 97.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
30 years running. I think that'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah. Wow. The 30 year. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that? Okay. Another 3 years to go. All right.
3 years. You can do it?
Hopefully.
Did that comp
if Mike can do it when he's still in his 60s, then
Mike
can't be complaining about mid-40s.
That's right. You're still a kid to him.
Yeah.
Did that comp put the fire back in you at all?
No.
No?
I mean, look, it does, but I've got other priorities now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I got a lot of enjoyment out of that, but like seeing my son play soccer on a weekend gets me, I get pumped on that, and seeing, there's different things now. I mean, it would be great to be able to do it if there was other comps and be a part of it, part of my life still would be great. But to be able to do it at that, just sustain it at that level, often, I don't know if I could handle it.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
Yeah. Like it was awesome, and it took me a lot of preparation to kind of get to there. So I mean, next year ones come around and I get invited, and if my body's healthy and the waves aren't too hectic, then I might give it another crack. But until then, we'll see. But yeah, no, I'm happy with the competitiveness as kind of gone now for me.
Testosterone's lowering.
Trying to beat other people. I'm still wanting to improve my surfing.
Yeah.
It's still.
Although
I don't think I'd be able to improve my bodyboarding. Still been able to try and get the better waves than I've ever caught or anything like that. You're still always trying to do that. As surfers, we try and get a better wave. We're searching for that better wave. So and if the island comp's on and a good surf, then the potential of getting a good wave is pretty high. So be trying to get that. But in terms of like going out and just trying to beat other competitors, that fire has definitely gone out. Yeah.
Well, final question for you, mate. So with that comp making a return and a bit of new life being breathed into things like Riptide, do you think bodyboarding can get back to its highs from way back in the day, or how do you think they could do that?
That's a tough one. See, it's a different world now. I think it's a different world to what we were competing in, and I guess success looks differently, or what would be considered, being successful in the tour and stuff like that. I don't know. It's hard. Maybe with the wave pools and things like that, it could do it. Because I think the bodyboard, it can allow you to do surf incredible waves. So like when we were doing it, you needed to have like Tahiti, you need to have chopes, pipe, the island, Arica in Chile. You needed these crazy heavy waves to be able to show bodyboarding in its best light.
Yep.
I think it could definitely get back to it for sure. It just depends on how. It's always been about money, right? It's always about money. So if you had a sponsor people who would invest in it, and the big sponsor would invest money into it, then for sure you could definitely get and it could potentially get onto the Olympics and all those kind of things. And once those type of things happen, money comes into the sport. That's what it's kind of all about.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, I think it could get back to the levels that it were and the popularity. How it would happen, I'm not too sure, but I really hope it does.
Me too.
So I think it's there's a place for it. There's a place for it from an entry level of just getting people into the water to then watching, the top guys, Tanner and those guys now Tristan Roberts and those guys, what they're doing, there's a pathway for it from literally first toe in the water to that high level. You could be on that same craft the whole way through. So, yes, I think it can. I just don't know how.
Fingers crossed someone comes up with a solution there.
Yeah, like I said, it always just comes down to money, like most things.
Yeah. Well, look, Andrew, you're a legend, mate. I really appreciate your time today. It's an absolute privilege to be able to chat to you. And we only really had time to chat about the island, but I'd love to get you back on again sometime down the track and talk about Tahiti and a few other wild waves as well.
Yeah, for sure, Dan. I'd love that. That'd be epic.
Yeah, it would, mate. Yeah, well, we'll be following your next steps pretty closely. And hopefully we see you pull that Rashi on again next year.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
I'll be in your ear about it, mate. Mate, good on you. I appreciate your time.
No dramas. Thanks, mate. Talk soon.